so many ways. Nothing I could say or do could really show my gratitude to you, Lord. One God, one love, one faith. To you I
Wayne, you can give me a thumbs up when you got it.
Three blessed Trinity, you mean so much to me. Shower me with love, even when I turned away. Lord, I could never repay you, so I'll just say, thank you for your love. Thank you for the blood. For all of the times that you brought me through. I just want to say,
All right.
thank you for your grace. Thank you, Lord, for keeping me safe.
All right.
And I can share the good news of the Savior. It gives you one reason just to say.
All right. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to our Coach's Corner for the month of October. And I'm excited because I have not only my friends with me, but I have my mastermind partners with me. And so the three-headed, we're not monsters. The three-headed blessing is here on this Tuesday morning at 9:00. So welcome, guys.
When you said that just now, my mind went to Daniel. You know, Daniel saw visions of these beasts with heads and
Absolutely. We're welcome to Coach's Corner with your host, Oliver Blue and John Ebron from Ebron Coaching and Consulting, and Dr. Wayne Moody, certified DreamBuilder coach. And we're delighted to be here this morning. And if you are listening to the replay or listening live for the first time, you may be asking, well, who are these guys, right? But our purpose here, because we all serve different virtual communities. Of course, I have my physical place here is on the East Coast. These guys are in the Southwest. Is that called Texas, the Southwest?
It is, in fact, the southwest, southeast, southeast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Where they come from that part of the country and operate from that part of the country, but they're all virtual and in-person coaches, mostly virtual, and so we greet all of our communities this morning. And our purpose, again, is to add value and build goodwill to the communities that we serve, to the clients that we serve. And that's what our purpose for being here this morning. So with that being said, where's the conversation at today? If I can remember.
I know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I know. The last time we had a little powwow to prepare for the summit, John and I were actually, the plumb line was set for us to make sure we get ourselves in line when Yolanda shared about where we are in our thinking, right? And honestly, this journey that I've been on has been turbulent at times. But my thought is, what do we do? What do we do in the midst of the turbulence, or how do we get ourselves back centered when when the wind has been knocked out of us, you know? And you and I have been actually mentored. One of our mentors is Mary Morrissey. One of the things that she teaches us is to create the energetic state of the moment. And how we create the energetic state of the moment is through our breathing. So the wind is knocked out of me, so I gotta breathe. Because when everything is happening and the wind is knocked out of me because of all the situation and circumstance, I'm nervous, I'm agitated, I'm frustrated, I'm everything else. But I breathe and get my nervous system calibrated, and then I go to a place of acknowledging what am I grateful for in this moment. And I always tell my clients, if there's anything I and be grateful for in the moment is I'm still alive, breathing. And then we magnify it with something that we've done that we're proud of. And what I would say in this moment, what I'm proud of, I have a new client in Belize that is a production artist. And I guess what? When we do the summit, I think he's going to be able to come in and do the controls for us. I haven't asked him anything yet, but he has done major productions. And we were talking yesterday, and he said, I'm going to do I said, you're going to be my guest on my podcast. He does all this stuff, and he is just global. And like, he came to me because of another client in Belize who's my client. And these pieces are coming together, and they're coming together in the midst of when the situation and circumstance don't look too good. So I go to a place of what am I happy and grateful for, and what am I proud of? And that immediately shifts my energy. And I get to a place of, yes, I can do this.
Wow. So you're saying, Wayne, that you use gratitude.
Gratitude and acknowledging something that I've done, because there are times when we minimize even the little small things that we've done that is taking us to the dream. Like one of the things that I'm proud of, I got up and I worked out half an hour this morning. I'm proud of that. And again, even in the midst of when the winds are tossing back, and I think it's this other motivational speaker said we can't really control the winds that are blowing, but we can set our sails so the wind takes us where we want to go. Because the storms are coming, and they come.
Right. So when we talk about storms or wind or turbulence or resistance, from a coaching standpoint, we reframe those ideas as basically energy, right? Energy that is looking for something to energize, right? But when it comes to us in the form of turbulence, it may be in the form of turbulence. It may be in the form of resistance. It may even be in the form of lack, right? It may come in the form of emotional state, feelings. I mean, there's so many different forms that energy takes. But if we understand that all of it's just energy that needs to be reframed for the most part, and it's looking for a landing place. It's almost like when a child is crying, when a little infant cries or a child cries. Most of the time they're crying because they're discomfort. They are in discomfort in the current state that they're in. So they're looking for another state.
Right.
And so when we have these things show up in our life that seems to be misaligned with where we're going, what we desire, how we want to show up, how we want to feel, how we want to express ourselves. Without the knowledge of what we're talking about here, then we normally submit to those things, right? And let that become our vibration of the moment. Let that become our feelings in the moment. And when that happens, it just clouds our vision a lot of time. And, it kind of sometimes translate into discouragement, right? Or it appears to be like we are powerless in the moment. But that's all happening because of a lack of awareness or lack of an understanding, right? And so what we want to bring this morning from the Coach's Corner to our communities is that we want to bring some expanded awareness so that we know how to navigate the turbulence in our life. How do you navigate your current state? How do you navigate from the current place that you are to the place that you desire to be? In between that is what we call transformation, right? Or navigating the gap, navigating the turbulence. How do we do that? Because this is where we live day in and day out, right? This is what we have to overcome day in and day out. And so we want to share some things this morning from all of our perspective that we believe that will bring value to the community, value to you, the listener, because we know everybody out here is in some kind of growth mode. Everybody out here has some kind of desire. Everyone out here is on a journey for something. And it's important to know what that something is. What is it that you love? Where are you going? Right. And if you are going somewhere, the first thing you need to do is examine where you are. Right.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely. So John, what do you want to bake the cake with this morning?
I love what you're talking about. I was in session yesterday, and I was reminded in this session yesterday. I turned a little bit of it into a learning laboratory. We kind of discussed some concepts, not just his actions plans and kind of what he's working on. But I was reminded of the first and second creation and how we are blessed to be co-creators with the creator in both the first and second creation. And what I think happens with us a lot of times is because we are, and not to be insulting, right? But we're a little bit unskilled as it relates to being co-creators, unless we're really taking personal growth and development serious, right? We only tend to, we put great effort in the second creation, which is the manifest creation, right? And we try to change what is, or we insist that what is, now that we have this data that comes in, right? Like I've done no real work with the first creation of thinking it into existence. I'm working with it now that it is here. And now I decide, oh, I don't like that. So I'm insistent that this is not what it really is. And if God doesn't let me play in the play field and play in the sand like that, then God is being mean to me. Right?
Right.
Well, the thing is, like, we really have to learn how to operate in the first and the second creation. We need to learn how to, as Dr. Covey puts it, we need to learn how to put first things first, right? But before that, we need to learn how to begin with the end in mind. And we have this blessing. I had my client sit for a minute with his eyes closed, and I said, I want you to become fully aware of where you are. Okay. And I want you now to, in your mind's eye, with your imagination, I want you to leave your body, and I want you to position yourself in this room where you can see yourself going through this exercise, sitting with your eyes closed. And can you do that? And he said, yeah, I can do that. No big deal. I can do that. It's a big deal because you're the only person that can do that. You're the only entity, you're the only species on the planet that can think about the way that you're thinking. Everything else on this planet is bound by instinct.
Yep.
We have not only instinct, but we have awareness. And because we have awareness, because we've been endowed not only with conscious, not only with will, not only with discernment, but also with imagination, we can operate in the first creation and dictate what it's going to look like when all of that energetic state you was talking about before congeals down and condenses down into manifestation. And you don't have to wait for it to get here and then decide it doesn't look the way you want it to look and then try to pretend that it's not what it is, right?
Right.
Once it's here to be dealt with, even if that dealing with it means that you're going to try to change this thing into another thing, it is that thing. But we have the grace to be preemptive, to be proactive, and begin to create it before it even gets here, so that when it condenses down into manifestation, it is, in fact, what we want it to be. And if we haven't learned how to, because I'm learning and relearning and relearning. Paul Wayne, and his ears bleed sometimes when he decides to be my listening partner, because I just both barrels, boom, 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 boom. It's paying people that make me sick, can't stand them. Now let me go serve somebody. But when I'm learning just to reshape and to transform as well, right? So we have the opportunity to change something into something else, but we also have the opportunity to create it in the first creation the first time, so that when it condenses down into reality, is what we want.
There are a few things that come to mind as John is speaking, right? And I guess something that I want to somewhere in the session this morning is to define emotions, right? What is emotions, right? And then also the reality of there are two things that helps us to see manifestation: consistency and persistency. Because if we're wavering, it says the double-minded mind is unstable in all his ways. And when Revelation says, "I wish you to be hot or cold," or let your yes be yes and your no be no. Because if you're fickle, that's when these emotions are going to come up, right? So help me, guys. Give me we have like a common definition of emotion. Emotion. What is emotion? So the folks can know what is emotion, to define emotions. What are emotions? How do we define emotions? Talking about energy.
You want to take it, Oliver? Because I can see the wheels.
No, well, what I want to do is just welcome all those that may have joined on since we started. This is the Coach's Corner with Coach Ebron, Coach Moody, and of course, Coach Oliver. And we're here for you to share today on the subject of navigating the gap, managing the turbulence, right? And so, Wayne, that's a great question. But when from my point of view as a coach, I come from a place like we've already shared here, that everything is energy. Every single solitary thing is energy, in form or without form. It is energy, and so and that everything here in this three-dimensional world we live in, everything is in motion. And everything vibrates, right? That's the law of vibration, that everything is in motion. So my view of emotion, now that I've been coached, now that I have actually now tested this idea, is that emotions are no more than energy that is in motion.
Yes.
Right. And that energy is in motion based on the mold that we give this energy. In other words, our thoughts is like a mold. And this energy is always coming into all of us 24/7. What are we going to do with the energy, right? So the energy is looking to take form or to take expression, and we provide that energy, form, or expression by the thoughts that we hold, right? Our thoughts are like containers. Energy is what is filled into these containers, and then that is what get expressed in our lives. And sometimes, and that energy in motion, sometime, it's going to be in total alignment with our thinking. So if we're thinking expansive thoughts, that energy is going to be expansive, or that emotion is going to be expansive. If we are thinking fear-based thoughts, then that emotion is going to reflect a level of fear or restriction or constriction, right? So we're either always in an expansive state based on our thoughts and our mindset, or we're in a constricted state based on our thoughts and our mindset. And so the common denominator is, how are we thinking? What are we thinking? Because that is the driver that will reflect in our emotions, be it psychological, physical, emotion, energy and motion. The body is no more than a mass of energy that's been coalesced, right? And it's an energetic field, right? It has this magnetic ability to it. And so I just gave all of the communities here a little basic lesson in what would you call it? Metaphysics, John?
Well,
And look, without this understanding what I just explained, we're just, we're at loss. We're at a serious disadvantage if you don't understand it, because you don't know what to do with this energy coming into you, and you don't understand the relation of this energy to your thoughts. Then you're at the mercy. You're at the mercy.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Yeah. And another way to think about this or look at this in a way to be a participant in your life, right? So not to be a window shopper of your life and, just kind of talking about the glory days back in the day when I used to have control over my life, but now it's the news or my spouse or the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, or whatever influence, right? Think about this. The principle, the law of laws is the law of cause and effect. Your emotions are the effect of your thinking. Your thinking is the cause.
say that again.
Your emotion is the effect of your thinking. Your thinking is the cause. So my mama, who spins around 3 times and turns into Wonder Woman on a daily basis. She has a phrase that she says all the time. It tickles me, but it's a release valve for responsibility. Mom, I hope you're not watching this show. But she says all the time, she says, baby, I'm just as sweet as you let me be. Meaning, when you poke the bear, whatever you get, that's your fault. Right? So I'm not responsible for my emotions. I'm not responsible for my reactions. And I'm not responsible for the physical damage I may cause you through my reactions, right? Don't poke the bear. Here's the deal, though. Nobody can really make us feel anything, because our feelings are the effect of our thinking. And so if you get angry as a reaction to your thought management to a stimulus of some sort, I thought I was creative, Wayne, when I started teaching this. And I said, I'm gonna use getting cut off in traffic as an example. And then everything I read, everybody used that same example. I was like, okay, well, I'm not as creative as I thought I was, right? But if you don't like the language that comes out of your mouth and the sign language you use after someone cuts you off in traffic, for example, you say, I don't want to react that way. I don't want to feel this way, right? It's not about the car that cut you off. It's about the thoughts that you think in relation to the car cutting you off. The car cutting you off is the stimulus, and it sets into motion all of the programming that you've already accepted into your other than conscious part of your mind on how you are in relation to those situations. So you're either disrespected or you're in danger or you're something that you have this thought process. But there are other people who get cut off in traffic. I'm not one of them. I do sign language. I say stuff. I'm working on it. Pray for me. But anyway, there are people out there who, when they get cut off in traffic, they pray for the person that cuts them off. They says, oh my God, that person's probably, they could be rushing to the hospital, or they might be late for something that's really important to them. I hope they're okay. They have trained their thinking.
Wow.
To think on a higher level. Right? They think I'm vigilant on the road, so I can protect myself. I'm a defensive driver. I'm attentive, right? So I can react in time to keep myself safe. So I'm not thinking that I'm in danger, right? So I can think of the other person. They have that trend of thought as the cause, and then the consequence of that cause is the energy, the kinetic energy that flows through their body, that energy, emotion that leads to their reaction to pray versus to cuss. Right? So it's their thinking.
It's a training thing, like you're saying, John, because
wow,
I don't know. I don't know if any of you have ever heard me being obscene.
No.
No.
And again, I have no problem if you're obscene because that's just not coming. And somebody said if you squeeze a sponge, whatever inside is going to come out.
Amen.
And the good book says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I can either be speaking a blessing or I can either be speaking a curse. And when some people, my mother, God rest her soul, she's gone. She would cuss like a sailor. My father, in all my life, I never heard my dad use an obscene language once.
Wow.
But what you're saying, as far as the training, and this doesn't come easy. And I always like support my clients because, you know, you're working with a client and they see you as this person that has just like overcome a lot of stuff. But I let them know I've overcome a lot of stuff, but it has been 43 years.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, what the coach does now, the coach helps to collapse the process because you don't have to take 43 years to be where I'm at.
No.
And I say to my clients who are 40 and 30, I said, man, if you have this awareness now at your age and you continue this trajectory, you're going to be beyond where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
If you're where you are, if you're where you are as a teenager, my youngest client I've ever started coaching was like 18 years old. And you imagine him getting these principles at 18 and navigating and shifting his mindset. Man, at 60, he's going to be phenomenal because of the awareness and the growth. And one of the worst things I think that we can do is compare ourselves with others.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of time that brings guilt and fear and condemnation. And going back to the emotions again, there are a lot of emotions that are expansive and emotions that are contractive.
Right.
Anxiety is another emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you know that the book says be anxious for nothing? That's a command. God commands us to not be anxious.
So it's a way of thinking, right?
It's a way of thinking. So if I think a certain way, I'm going to feel a certain way. There's an acronym. I think Mary gave this to us, or somewhere we got this in our dream building. TEAR. T, the thoughts. A, E is the emotions, leading to A, the action. R, giving us the results. TEAR. The thoughts, the emotions, the actions, the result. And one of the things that we learn in dream building is that if you don't like the results that you have, trace it back to the thinking that you had.
Right.
My results, which I'm responsible for, is connected to how I thought. And unless I deal with how I thought, the results are going to be the same. And we always say this change begins when my thinking changes.
Yes. Yeah, because John talked about, the thinking is the cause, and the whatever we experience in form or in emotion in our psychological self, that is the effect of the thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So when we grasp this awesome truth, what we also realize is that we have the power. We have the power to change, to control our thoughts, right?
And some people, this is where I want to bring the religiosity and the because some people are praying, asking God to do something which God has said, you do it. I'm praying, asking God to do something, and God already telling me, you do it.
Right.
I mean, that is like, you got to get, God says you do it. So why should I ask God to do it? He said, I've empowered you to do it. Right. So why ask me to do it?
And you doing it is God doing it, because you are the expression. But
right.
Go ahead.
Right.
I share that every time I share what John said, right? And I coach you guys when I'm doing what I'm doing, because John Ebron says when God wanted to boast, he said, let me make Oliver, let me make John, let me make Wayne, because we are a unique expression of who God is. That's why, again, somebody says, do the world a favor, just be yourself, because if God wanted you to be somebody else, he was going to make you somebody else. This is why I want to make sure that who I'm expressing myself to be, people are going to say, oh, that's Wayne. No doubt when they hear about something that I did or something that I said, they'll be that's Wayne. Because John can tell you, about our mental faculties, the one that I love the most is my imagination.
Oh yeah.
And John would be like, boy, leave your imagination right now, please.
Ray, you and that imagination gonna get us all in trouble.
and honestly, I imagine myself, and I'm moved to emotions right now when I think about it, that I am declared as the minister of transformation of Belize. And that's something that all of us sowed a seed in my head. He said it. And I'm taking it.
Right.
No, as I introduce myself, I say, I am the minister of transformation of the nation of Belize. I haven't heard anybody else claim it, so I claim it. and again, I like John was saying that the what do you call it, the creation, John, the double creation, or the first and the first is the thought,
right?
But the manifestation is when I am in Belize and they announce in the parliament, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Minister of Transformation of the Nation of Belize, Wayne Moody. But I will not hear that unless I become that.
Right.
And I'm becoming that with all these storms that I'm going through.
Yeah. And just think about that. From that one thought, we've been around you ever since, that landed. You have put together a string of thoughts, and when you put together a string of thoughts that are related, it creates an idea. So this is Wayne's big idea, to go back to his home country and bring transformation to his home country. This is the big idea. This is the big thing that's in the heart of Wayne. And we just help you to express that in such a way that resonate not only with you, but it is in total alignment with what you have imagined. And so we've also observed the pieces of this coming together through relationships, right? Some that you have not even imagined. And this is how the creative process works. But along this whole journey that you are on, and I'm on a journey, I got big ideas. John got big ideas. All of us got big ideas.
Yes, sir.
You just have to let them come to surface. Life don't just stop happening just because you get a big idea. Family matters, business matters, financial matters, health matters, right? Career matters, service matters. All these things still, they're going to do what they're going to do. In other words, when an airplane takes off from the East Coast and is destined from North Carolina, and its destination is Los Angeles, LAX. Just because that pilot programs into that plane, right, the route to take to get to the West Coast, right, that doesn't mean that all of the wind patterns, all of the air patterns, right, all of the turbulence that's between the East Coast and the West Coast just going to bow their knee just because that pilot has an idea to go from point A to point B. Just because you got a big idea in your life. Life just not going to stop, presenting things that may be in resistance or opposition to where you're going just because you get an idea. No, but it is with the turbulence, not without it, right? It is with the resistance, not without it, right? That one gets from his current reality to his preferred reality. And so we're here today to talk about, how to navigate that gap between where you are and where you desire to go. Because I mean, you just don't. You have to take the path, right?
John,
You have
help me
yeah,
here,
you
John.
have to take the path.
Mhm.
John has been a physical trainer as far as the body, right? And tell me the importance of resistance in improvement. If you're going to be my personal
Absolutely.
trainer, how important is it that I experience resistance in this process? Because if you're my trainer in the gym and I'm doing 5-pound weights and I can, this 5 pound is easy. Why is it that I have to?
Right. Why am I getting nowhere? Because you have counterproductive objectives. You want to be progressive and comfortable, and that doesn't work.
Right.
Right. And so the body teaches us so much, and oftentimes now in my life, when I look to study deeper principles and practices, I find myself often going back to my body. My body teaches me, illustrates these practices, right? And I can get to see whether or not my thinking is in alignment with the direction I want to go just by my body. So your body needs resistance, right? Um, our bodies are homeostatic organisms. It craves normalcy, and it will find normalcy in just about any circumstance that you put it in. And so here you are with a progressive mind and a body that craves normalcy. The only way you're going to progress is putting that body under resistance so it changes and elevates to a new normal and a new level of capacity and capability. And that comes through stress. I literally just got through teaching a class on mental health for fundamentals for managers for General Electric this morning, right before our meeting here today. And we're talking about depression, and the topic of stress came up. And I was stressing to them about stress, that you cannot get away from stress. The objective is not to live a stress-free life. I really, honest to God, cannot stand those too cool for school people, that I'm always unbothered and I'm never stressed. What was that song that T-Pain, all I do is win, 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 no matter. You lying. You lying. You are not always winning. Sometimes you got to go through stress, and stress will educate you. Stress will, it will break those weaker elements and give it opportunity to transform and become stronger. And that's what resistance is there for, right? So it is monitored. Um, I want to say sophisticated, but it is monitored and regulated stress. There's a difference between a stretching and a tearing, right? So you want to make sure that the stress that you're at is in complement with your level of capability. So I teach that there's 3 circles, right? So when you're managing yourself, you're going through the turbulence. You have to have a good level of self-awareness, right? Because you need to know what your thresholds are. You need to know that the stress that I'm going through right now, my capabilities, my coping skills, my resiliency can handle that stress. And then when I hit a threshold, now I need to enlist my support system, right? And when that that reaches that threshold, then now I need to seek professional help, right? But you need to know what your limits are. And not if you know that you have it within you, and you know you have a support system that can take you further, and that you have access to resources even beyond that, then why be afraid of stress? Go into the turbulence, because the turbulence is not the process. The turbulence is a component of the process, and you can get through it.
Right. Absolutely. In fact, you can't get through it without it.
But
Right.
so true.
Right. You can't get to your preferred reality without what the stress and the pressure and the transformation that is required, right, to get to that outcome. Because just think about it. Every outcome, every result, every desire is on a level of frequency, right? All the energy is different frequencies, right? So if your goal is here, right, it's on a higher frequency, and we understand frequency because you can't watch ESPN by turning into the cooking channel. You can't listen to Happy FM if you sit your radio dial on sad FM. No, you got to put the dial on what? Happy FM to hear the happy music.
Yeah.
So likewise, our
I like that.
preferred reality, in other words, the thing that we want to achieve or to give or to create or to share or to solve is on a certain frequency, right? And so in order for us to be a match to that frequency, right, there has to be a transformation, a movement from where we are, right? And generally 90% of that is how you're thinking.
It says, be ye transformed
Right.
by the renewing of your mind.
Absolutely. So
and the warfare is in the mind. We need to cast down thoughts, imagination.
Right. That's the turbulence. That's the turbulence. Right. So what we're talking about here is taking personal responsibility, right? To become the match, to become the vibratory match,
Yeah.
to become the energetic match, right? To become the intelligent match, because there's some things we have to know. To become the exact match to get up to Happy FM or to dial into what ESPN.
I know this is going to be like going off on something that is deeper. How does this relate to sicknesses and mental health awareness? How does all of this relate to sickness, really physical sicknesses like aneurysm and stress and high blood pressure and diseases and cancers? Because it's energy.
And
what I've learned, the energy that is there, that is because the energy that is not released, the energy that is not processed in the right way. This is why you go to the masseuse now and they're like, man, I feel some knots over here and we got to work out this kink. And this is why there are certain things that start affecting the cells, because the energy affects the cells and then the cells become mutated.
Right.
And then even the mental health, if my thinking is like the person that went and committed suicide, what were they thinking?
Right.
When they did that.
Right. So, the act is just a reflection of the thoughts. Yeah. Well, the one thing we know that science and psychology and religion all agree. They all agree on this. They all agree that there's one energy, right? And that within this one energy, the activity of energy is thought. Right? That is the activity of the thought, or thought is the activity of the mind. That's what controls the energy. And they all agree on this. And that they all agree that our thinking will eventually is the cause of all experiences, whether they be emotional or whether they be tangible experiences. The origin of it all is the thought. And this is the reality. This is the expanded awareness that I think all of us, from a coaching standpoint and from our own personal life, this is the point that we've been trying. This is the point that we try to make. This is the place that we try to help our clients in, regardless of the condition that they're in when they come to us.
Yeah.
We know that the cause of the condition that anyone's in is their thinking. And so we always get around to, how are you thinking? What are your thought life? What are your beliefs? Because we know that at the root of every effect is the cause is our thought life. psychosomatic. Most medical community now accept the reality that the state of the patient's mind is the largest factor in their physical condition, and so they work with patients now from a psychological standpoint, from a mental standpoint. We say in the world there's a huge mental crisis, mental illness crisis in the world. It sure has always been that way because that is the cause. That is the cause. And so, if you want to really get to the root of things, we have to get to the root of a person's thinking because their thinking is the cause.
Question here, and I guess we're coming up to our hour.
Yes.
What I feel, the emotions that I'm experiencing, how do we differentiate it with who I really am? Because one of the things that I'm big on even more recently is acknowledge and validating the emotions, but differentiating who I am. So this is what I'm saying. I don't say I am angry because that's not who I am. When I say I am, that's creative. I am amazing. I am fearful and wonderfully made. But when it comes to the emotions that I'm feeling, I have to validate them. So I can say, I'm feeling the energy of being pissed off, or I'm feeling the anger.
Right.
That's not who I am.
Right. You're having the experience. And
you are the you.
Right. And our experience is not who we are. It's just what we're experiencing.
And that's something that I mean, I have gotten it to the point that whenever clients talk to me, I say this is a teachable moment right now, because they would say, I am a procrastinator. No, that's not who I am. I have the habit of procrastinating.
Right.
So the difference between what I feel, and some people are saying don't feel, and that's the other extreme.
Right.
People are going and saying this is who I am. That's the other extreme. So, and I say my feelings has to be validated. So tell me how you're feeling right now, because that feeling is something that has been triggered by something that you're thinking.
Right.
That's how we can deal with the emotions. So I have emotions which are real, but that's not who I am.
Yeah. I think too, Wayne, in relation to what you're saying, the precious life skill in order for everything that you say to touch my life and to be effective to me is the ability to slow down. Right? Because our, neurons, they wire and then they fire and then they wire and they fire, right? And so we in milliseconds, all of these processes take place, and we're so used to moving it at this warp speed, right? And then on top of that, now we're living in an environment where things are taken for we remember when there were no Google, right? I mean, I remember when this new sorcery hit the land called email, this magician's work called electronic mail, when I was on the other side of the planet and you could send something to me and it didn't take 3 to 7 business days to get there, right? But now it is the expectation. I sent you a direct message 45 seconds ago. Where what's going on? What's and we put that demand on our cognition that we have no time to slow down, but it is only in dissecting the communication process that we've been talking about that thoughts lead to consequences, and those consequences are your energetic states and your reactions lead to your results. If we can't segment these things down and go to the actual place where we have most in control and influence, if we can't slow down, then we can't separate ourselves from our emotions.
No.
And I am fill in the blank. It feels that way, but when we can slow down,
right?
So I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks now. I've been harping on this. Grace creates space.
Yes.
And when I am tinkering on something and trying to turn it into something else, I need to be able to take it apart and put this part over here and this part over here. I need space to work.
Yes.
You need to give yourself grace, because
Yes.
the grace gives you the space to
Yep.
see it's not that I'm a procrastinator and I always do this and I'm the problem. It is I am currently experiencing an energetic state that returns to me with a certain level of frequency and certainty this result that I don't like. And so now I need to learn how to, as you were saying earlier, Oliver, mindset. I need to learn how to set my mind on a different frequency. And this is why working
Yes.
with a coach is so important, because you're busy living your life. The coach runs the process and helps you elevate your frequency. So if your coach tells you to do something silly, like my mentor just said to me the other day, he says, I want you to say, because I want you to increase your execution, right? You need to add more action to what you're doing. He says, so this is what your homework assignment. Every morning before you get out of bed, I want you to say, do it 50 times before you get out of the bed. Do it, do it, do it, do it. And like a fool, that's what I did this morning. I sat in my bed. I did not throw the covers off until I did my 50. Do it, do it, do it. And why did he do that? Because he knows the process.
He knows the process.
He did
right,
process.
right.
And, and you know something that is key too, John, even as you talk about how we reprogram our mind, and Oliver and I know about this, the whole idea of forgiveness, practicing forgiveness. And like you were saying, grace to yourself and forgiveness, because I set all the stuff that I'm going to do today. But by the end of today, you know what happened? I didn't get all of it done. So what do? I say, Wayne, you are forgiven. I mean, in the capacity that I have, I did what I could with what I have. And I gave grace to myself so that I don't beat up myself. I won't be pulling that tomorrow into tomorrow.
Wasted energy.
No. I'm going to be, I did the best that I could today with what I had. And that is my standard, not anybody else's standard. And then tomorrow, I always say, hey, tomorrow morning, I got a clean slate.
There you go. And you learn, right? You learn. So I stacked my plate with 5 things that I'm going to do today. And I got through the day, and 2 things is what I got done. So now I understand that 2 is realistic. I don't stack my plate with 5 things tomorrow. I stack my plate with 2 things, right? And what is everybody else going to do? They're going to wait, and they're going to like it, because 2 things is what I can do with excellence, right? And so we reframe, but not before we get to learning. Not before we get to learn.
Wow, guys, this is amazing. This is good. And this is what Wayne and I envisioned at the beginning of the year.
Wow.
And that was an expansive idea, right? So the energy to make this expansive, right? It followed suit, right? And then as we come through this year, we needed more muscle, and here comes John. Let me say it this way: we needed more technology.
I want to say thank you so much, Oliver, for the download. Because when you said I want to partner with you, and you said we're going to meet once a month, I mean, I'm going to be ready. And we've made the time from January, February, March, April. And as you were saying that just a while ago, I realized that it's going to be this or something greater still, because I will not be here, and you will be where you are. And we have actually established something that is going to be phenomenal, because as I look and I see the acceleration happening in Truly OB and in Ebron coaching and where I'm going, wow, it's phenomenal. And there's a scripture that says, "Do not despise the day of small beginnings."
Amen to
As
that.
we go back to all these recordings that we've done, they are amazing.
Absolutely. And look, that's one core value that the 3 of us share, is that we believe in not just taking from the communities that we serve, but we believe in building value, giving value, over giving value, and building goodwill in the communities that we serve, because we get to serve.
Mhm.
That's our biggest compensation, is that I get to serve. And I know Wayne feel the same way. I know John feel the same way, that we get to serve and serve the truth as we know it,
Mhm.
and serve the truth that has been scientifically proven. These principles that we're sharing are scientific principles. These are not our ideas. These are we don't take
Right.
ownership of anything we've said. We have just learned these things. We put these things into practice in our own life, and we've seen the results. We've seen the turbulence. Because when you have a big idea, two energies should show up. One is fear, and the other one is possibility. They both
Yeah,
should show up, right? Because
absolutely.
anytime that you're getting ready to move beyond what you've known, so that's the only thing fear is moving into an experience that you have not experienced, and so your mind and your paradigm screams immediately. Because it's taking you out of your place of comfortability. But that is part of the journey. Your life, in every experience in your life. Listen to us now here. And we're going to land this plane right here. We've left the East. We've gone through the turbulence, and now we're getting ready to land this thing at LAX. We have been cleared for landing by the tower. And here it is. Here it is. Your life, in the activities of your life, in the relationships of your life. And I'm speaking to everyone here individually. Is the perfect path for your unfolding, is the perfect path for your transformation, is the perfect turbulence, the perfect resistance, as well as the perfect alignment and integrity and harmony for you to discover who you are and to be the very best expression of yourself. It is. Your life is perfect. Your life is the path. Your life is the transformation.
Yeah.
Every relationship, everything that has ever happened in your life has prepared you to be sitting here now listening to the Three Musketeers.
My one of my mentees, who is a part of the vision as far as Belize, I just saw something that he posted, and this is what Romney said, right? Romney said this: do not feel lonely. The entire universe is inside of you.
The entire,
Wow.
everything.
Do not feel lonely. The entire universe. And I mean, when I say it, it has a depth to when I say it. Like I would say to folks when I get in the room, I said, take a deep breath. That's the infinite source. And sometimes I forget that I am one with. Anyway, guys, it was great being here. I got to step in this next. I got a meeting coming up, but thanks, John. Thanks, Oliver. Next November. What's happening November?
Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars for November the 27th for the Sankofa Mastermind Fall Summit 2023.
Yeah.
We have co-created this event for all of you, and it is going to be super. We have some dynamic resources that are going to bless you in this summit. And so mark your calendars for November the 22nd. That's the Monday after Thanksgiving. Wayne has always used that as the trigger for us to come together, for all three of our communities to come together. So you are invited. And so you will begin to see the details of that coming out on our different platforms where you'll be able to register for this event. It is a free event. John has covered all the costs. Wayne has covered all the costs.
You have covered all the.
But what it does require is for you to register, and you'll begin to see
Yes.
the links to make that happen in the next couple of weeks. So Mastermind Fall 2023 is going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
And I've already started mentioning to my community that there is going to be one more virtual.
Yes.
2025, it's in person.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Gentlemen, hasta la vista.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Wayne. And we'll be back next month for a brand new version, a brand new episode of the Coach's Corner.
All right.
And
Blessings, everyone.
until then, just ride through the turbulence.
There it is.
It's good for you.
All
Bye bye.
right.
Till next time. Bye bye.
Ciao for now.